Is there members of the public, city, stadium authority clerk? Do you have any cards?
I have no cards on this.
Okay, so feel free to line up and.
I would like to make some comments I prepared. Taken several weeks to prepare these comments, but I think the police department through this audit process has been probably the single department that's been mostly affected, especially in the media. So I would like to start off by saying I've been a proud Santa Clara police officer for over 32 years, and I'm honored to be serving my second term as your elected police chief. I've sworn an oath to protect and to serve this community. My department is guided by our values, by our value statement and the law enforcement code of ethics. These guide our daily decisions, including mine. We do so with pride, dignity, and honor. Our core values are integrity, honesty, accountability, trust, respect, and fairness. And I truly believe our community expects that we are held accountable to these values. I also believe our community expects that these same standards, along with the city code of ethics, should apply to our council and mayor. Tonight, I will ensure that the public gets a full and accurate account regarding police costs as it relates to Levi's Stadium, and not the political grandstanding by our Mayor Gilmore and her reckless claims of abuse, misappropriation of funds, and allegations of corruption, as she has claimed several times in the media. I have to be honest, Mayor, your rhetoric has unfairly tarnished the reputation of the Santa Clara Police Department and many, many city employees. Our city has been subject to a level of hatred and nastiness that I have never seen before. It is being compounded by your lack of leadership, honesty, and transparency. This unnecessary burden is affecting the fine men and women that have served this great city. And frankly, they are all tired of it. They do not deserve to be treated nor portrayed the way they have been, and especially this past year. Several key staff members have left this city due to this behavior. The core issue is the city's relationship with the San Francisco 49ers, Levi's Stadium, and this recent public safety audit from Harvey M. Rose. I am here tonight to set the record straight. As an elected official, I can no longer stand by and allow the negativity that's been going on to affect this great city. I'd like to start with the audit by Harvey M. Rose. First of all, let me be clear. I am all about transparency and accountability. There is no question I support and appreciate financial audits. They help us make better decisions and keep our city financially stable and guide us. But as my team and I went through this process with Harvey M. Rose, we started to question the validity and the direction of this audit, and this is why. It is not very often that the council goes against staff recommendations, and there's a reason for that. The city staff worked tirelessly to vet qualified CPA firms that met the city's request for proposal for this financial audit. In this case, staff recommended a qualified auditor to the council, and it was not Harvey M. Rose. Nonetheless, my team cooperated 100% with the staff from Harvey M. Rose. It was not long before it became very clear to us that they were given specific instructions and directions consistent with the narrative that unfortunately you have been claiming for over a year now under the guise of protecting us all against potential Measure J violations. You lobbied and authorized $180,000 of taxpayer money in hopes of finding a smoking gun to support your claim, and I quote, misappropriation of millions and millions of dollars. And the best quote I appreciate is, the chief of police needs to stop the bleeding of millions of dollars of general fund money. These claims are not only completely absurd, it has now been proven, as many have suspected, as being absolutely false. So let me tell you what their findings were for the police department. We met with Harvey M. Rose countless times and had a fully transparent process to allow them to review all relevant documents. They reviewed 5 non-NFL events and 6 NFL events that they chose. Police staff costs were divided into 3 separate categories: planning, event day personnel, and police arrests or investigations. And here's what they found. Planning costs and event day personnel for non-NFL events. They found that there was $172 of planning costs that was allegedly unbilled per event. That's right, $172. There was $858 for event day personnel. Out of all the personnel working these 5 events, I've been told that they found 3 people, 3, that were not coded properly. For the NFL events, there was $61 of planning costs that were allegedly unbilled per event. $61. There was $479 for event day personnel. And I was told that they found 2 people listed on our game day roster that wasn't billed. So now I'd like to shift to the police investigations after the event. They discovered and reported that there was $266 for unbilled charges for non-NFL events and $579 for NFL unbilled charges for services associated with police arrests and investigations after the events. I had brought this up to Harvey and Rose's attention at our first meeting. I had explained to them that I had received specific direction from our prior city manager and prior city attorney that we could not charge for these post investigations because it was prohibited by California state law, Article 12D, Section 6, subsection B, 5. And they also asked, do we charge similar fees for other services we provide with other businesses like Great America or the Santa Clara University, to name a few? And the answer is no. I have asked several times for a legal opinion on this interpretation. As of today's date, the city has not pursued an outside legal opinion. The auditors then, added all together, these 3 categories for all the 3 events. They reported per event approximately $1,300 for non-NFL and $1,100 for NFL events. This equates to 0.5% of the public safety billing. 0.5% of margin. The final draft of this audit was delivered this past Monday, 30 minutes before the drop dead time for that the agenda report could be put together. This did not provide adequate time for staff to review. And in this report, Harvey M. Rose reported that there was approximately $115,000 was the total net for unreimbursed city staff costs for both non-NFL and NFL events. Of the amount, it is my understanding that I learned tonight that approximately $20,000 of that amount has actually been substantiated. The auditor said that they had extrapolated their numbers across the 28 NFL or non-NFL events and the 20 NFL events. The fact is, there is only 27 large-scale non-NFL events during this time frame and not 28. This accounting process is not accurate and does not follow normal accounting practices because it does not reflect actual costs. For those same 47 events that was looked at during this audit period, we billed approximately $11,700,000. At this time, I would like to take this time to thank every member of the Santa Clara Police Department and the entire city staff on an amazing job well done, ensuring that general fund dollars was protected. Instead of criticizing staff publicly, I firmly believe you should be thanking them. I want the citizens to understand that the Stadium Authority has never given any direction to the staff on how to track time or handle expenses. In November of 2013, then Finance Director Gary Ambling provided account codes to track stadium planning and Super Bowl 50 related time and expenses. Staff continued to work hard together to develop new practices. It wasn't until August of 2016 when acting city manager Rajiv Batra provided formal training or direction. So to the Stadium Authority Board and the Santa Clara citizens, there was no misappropriation of funds, much less misappropriation of millions of dollars. In addition, there has never been an ongoing criminal investigation by the district attorney into stadium finances. Mayor Gilmore, you falsely claimed that and reported that there was. That is extremely misleading and unethical, to say the least. I have personally spoken to District Attorney Rosen, and he confirmed that there has been never such an investigation. Furthermore, there is no corruption, stench, collusion among staff in the police department or in City Hall, as you have claimed. These politically motivated attacks must stop. They must stop. You're hurting our city. You're adversely affecting our employees and the residents of Santa Clara. My department, along with every member of the city staff, has fully cooperated with this audit. Again, the report has shown no misappropriation of funds from any employee to the city. And to continue to state otherwise is to promote a false claim to pursue your political agenda. By continuing down that path and by having council members that enable you to do so, you will continue to lose great employees. On July 12th, there was an article in the Mercury News about the confidential audit report that was leaked to the media. I would encourage all of our citizens and everybody in the audience to take a look at that article and the attached documents. There will be two links in the original and in that report, and one will be the confidential report and the city's red line response to that report. The report, as you will see, is riddled with errors and inconsistencies. Yet, Mayor, you met with the San Francisco Chronicle editorial board 4 days after this confidential draft report was released to us, and they subsequently released the confidential report a few days later. This is not in the best interest of Santa Clara or for our citizens. I think it's also important that the public understands that there is a public safety cost cap as part of the agreement of the city, the Stadium Authority Board, and the 49ers Management Co. as it relates to public safety costs for NFL events. This agreement and the cost recovery measures with it was voted and approved by the council member Gilmore and others. There is a mechanism built in this agreement that covers costs that exceed that cap called a discretionary fund. This discretionary fund is in place as a secondary protective measure, further protecting against the general fund from being used to pay for public safety costs. The cap started out at $170 with a 4% cost escalator each and every year. It has now grown to somewhere around $194,000. After the first NFL season, we realized our public safety costs exceeded the cap. The prior city manager, the prior city attorney, and the prior finance director and myself reached out to the San Francisco 49ers to discuss about increasing this threshold. They agreed to meet 1 year earlier than required by contract because our partners at the time were willing to have this discussion. However, since you have taken the stance that you have against the 49ers and Levi Stadium and the pending lawsuits that are pending, those discussions have now stalled. Mayor, you have stated several times that the discretionary fund for the public safety costs is a violation of Measure J. If that is actually true, then why did you vote to have a public safety cap for NFL events and not non-NFL events? To me, voting for and having a cap on NFL events is a violation of Measure J, man. And finally, I think it is important that we address the relationship, or I should say lack of, between the city, the Stadium Authority, and the San Francisco 49ers and the management company. Enough is enough, guys. We must start speaking the truth. We cannot treat our business partners any different than we do other businesses in this great city. We should remain committed to our city code of ethics and values. We should embrace all of our partners. And to be honest with you, I was not excited about the stadium coming to the city just because I felt that our city was too small to handle a stadium of that size and the responsibilities associated with it. But I do have to thank the 49ers for bringing the finest NFL stadium in the country to our city, and it's truly a gem. It's been my honor to work with those members, and I think we have accomplished some amazing things. My team has provided a safe public safety plan. We've had Super Bowl 50, and we continue to improve each and every event. However, though, I do ask the 49ers and the management company to open a dialogue with us to improve our relationships, address the pending lawsuits and the public safety costs. I ask you to do that. These efforts will require leadership, real dialogue, and trust from everyone. And I'm willing to help with that, to lead that discussion. So I call upon you, Mayor, Council, and the 49ers to please, please work together to improve our relationships for the sake of all Santa Clarans.